Today, family and friends said goodbye to Cleveland police officer Nick Sabo. Now, he died by suicide earlier this month. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost sent a statement offering condolences, calling Sabo's death a tragedy. Now, it comes at a time when suicides among police officers continues to grow at alarming rates. In most cases in Ohio, workers' compensation does not cover PTSD, but House lawmakers believe it should. News 5's Jordan Vandenberg takes an in-depth look at the problem and the solution that remains at a standstill.
Like a dream he couldn't wake up from, the images flash in front of him. What he saw, what he felt, and what he experienced. It was like a film with no final credits.
But every day it still popped up.
You can't choose what memories you remember, although he wishes he could.
Incidents like that bring up visual pictures that go through your head. Sometimes they go through your head nonstop, and it's a movie that plays over and over and over again.
We'll call him John. He's a veteran police officer currently employed by a department in Northeast Ohio. And for his anonymity, he described an incident on the job that took him to the deepest, darkest place.
It involved me taking somebody's life to save somebody else's. It was a very up close and personal incident. There was a lot of visual trauma that went with it. That sometimes still haunts me today.
In the 3 months that followed, John couldn't sleep. Later ruled as a justified use of force, the incident, he says, was the first and last thing he thought about each and every day.
We kind of equate it to being eaten by ducks. And all these ducks just peck at you for the longest time, and then finally that one duck just does it.
They say anywhere between 19 and 34% of police officers suffer from some kind of PTSD.
37 states offer some sort of PTSD coverage for first responders. Ohio isn't one of them. Sponsored by Strongsville Republican Tom Patton, House Bill 308 would have changed that. The legislation is designed to allow first responders who develop PTSD while on the job to receive treatment through workers' compensation. Currently, that treatment is available, but only if the trauma is accompanied by a physical injury. With no physical injury, first responders have to pay for that treatment on their own.
There still seems to be some resistance to recognizing that these mental issues can arise out of someone's employment.
Organizations like the Ohio Chamber of Commerce and Ohio Manufacturers Association oppose the legislation, primarily citing the possible increases to workers' compensation costs and the potential it could be expanded to those working outside of public safety. State officials say adding PTSD coverage would cost $44 million in the first year, but it comes at a time when the Bureau of Workers' Compensation touts that it has saved employers $10 billion in workers' comp costs since 2011.
I'm not sure they truly understand what an officer goes through or what an EMS worker goes through or even a firefighter goes through. I don't know if they've visually seen the trauma that each of these professions has seen.
The bill sailed through a House committee and it sailed through the full House in February. But after 3 readings this summer, it never left the Senate General Government Committee. With suicides among first responders growing at an alarming rate, proponents argue the legislation is needed now more than ever.
I wish I would have sought treatment before or faster, but even now, some of those thoughts still come back.
John has returned to doing what he loves after months of treatment and therapy. He has also become a leader in his department, inviting those to shed the stigma just like he did.
That's really the only thing that's helped me with my incident is talking to my doctor or to people.
It was once a dream he couldn't wake up from, a series of frames stitched together by trauma from the job. The movie is shorter now, and John hopes eventually the lights will come up and the credits will roll.
Every day I'm working on my post-traumatic growth.
It is unclear when and if House Bill 308 will advance out of the Senate committee. Courtney?
Well, Jordan, it's really clear that something needs to be done to help these first responders here in Ohio. Just tell us, how prevalent are suicides in the first responder community?
Well, there's been a lot of research into PTSD and some of these data sets, but there isn't one congruent place that has all of the data, because a lot of it is agencies reporting these cases to organizations like Blue Help. It's an advocacy group that kind of tracks this kind of stuff. And they reported 228 law enforcement suicides in 2019. and that was the highest total that they've recorded.
Wow, thank you so much, Jordan. And if you have a story you think we should look into, giving it some extra special attention, let us know. Go to news5cleveland.com/in-depth and fill out a submission form.